Hello and welcome! Welcome to my sewing room. My name is Melissa. So why start a YouTube channel in June of 2026? It feels like there's a lot of creators out there, a lot of people posting the things that they make. So why add one more voice? So the thing I want to do here is just show you the things that I'm making and how I make them, and just be free to be goofy and have fun and be myself, and then hopefully 4 of you will like it. I'm at a point in my life where my husband and I are empty nesters. I live completely off the grid in the mountains of New Mexico, and I only need to work part-time, so I have lots of time to create things. And I'm at a stage where I was going to put a bunch of patterns, now that I could develop patterns, on Etsy. And I'm going to just say, I am sorry if you're on Etsy, and I don't mean to rant, but I can't say this without ranting, and I can't be negative, make a negative statement without being negative. But I'm boycotting Etsy right now because they have done nothing to protect us humans from the AI invasion. And they're like, whether it be sewing or knitting or crochet or whatever craft you might want to buy a pattern for, if I were to put some of the knitting patterns that I have in my head on paper, I'd need to make a sample, and then take pictures, and then write a chart and write the written word pattern. And there's no way I could do that really quickly and then test it and test different sizes, so let's just say I could throw 10 patterns a year out, right? And put it on Etsy for maybe $5, hopefully. At that rate, that's going to put me on page 2,000. Nobody's ever going to see it because Etsy gives preferential treatment to people who put hundreds of patterns out. And or I could just go to ChatGPT, which I won't, because there is no AI used here. I've taught basic skills quilting classes. I've taught sewing classes. I've taught people how to knit, and so I'm just gonna, keep these skills alive, keep these heirloom crafts alive. So anyway, I could rabbit trail. I could, do ChatGPT, which I won't, and say, make me a picture of a hat that looks like this, and write me a pattern for this hat, and then you could do hundreds of patterns in a month, right? But you're not actually making it, and it's not tested. And it's called AI slop for a reason. So anyway, moving forward. So what I'm working on this week, I'm going to turn my camera around. My sewing room has had the illusion of organization. This week, one of the things that I did is all of these bins, I took everything out of the fabric bins. The light gray bins on top are all full of yarn, and I went through and organized them according to junk yarn that I used to wrap presents, and sock yarn and cotton yarn. And then I also organized all of my fabric bins, and before all of this quilting cotton was just kind of slapped in here with no semblance of order. But now look, if I want black or purple or orange or brown or yellow fabric, nowhere to find it. And then I also reorganized my little scrap bin. Part of the reason I reorganized all of my bins is because my friend Sheila gave me a whole bunch of quilting cotton, and so I am making this quilt for her with some of the fabric that she gave me, which was wonderful. This is one of her patterns. Honestly, I didn't actually look at the pattern, I just looked at the picture, and then I made my own pattern because I'm like that. Okay, and right now my next step in this process in the quilt that I just showed you is I am piecing together the half square triangles that were cut off of the flying geese to make a border on the quilt that I'm working on. I'm just chain piecing these together, making strips and doing a sawtooth border. When I was emptying out my bins, I found this little teddy bear that my daughter made. It only had one arm sewn on, so I sewed on the other arm and 2 legs and put the face on and tied a ribbon around it, and I'm going to send it to her. And then I also potted a couple of plants. This is a inverted spider plant that I got from one of my neighbors. And I was over at their house and I realized I didn't have the one where it's like white on the inside and green on the outside. I have the opposite of that. So I just started pulling babies off of the plant and rooted them and potted it. And then I got a basil and from the farmer's market, which I put in an upside down tissue box. Gotta have coffee. This week is my kitty space mug. Darn good yarns kitty space mug. Okay, anyway, the other thing we did this week is we went to the laundromat, for fun. My final step of a quilt is to wash it before I give it to the recipient. My father-in-law, who's wonderful, actually hinted that he'd like a quilt, so I made this one for him. This week, in all things knitting, I am making socks. And the only problem with the sock is if you make one, you have to make 2 of them. So that's it. My favorite thing this week is little. It's this little thing, but it is a game changer. It is a rubberized plastic squishy thing that you put on your bobbins. Like that. And it keeps the bobbin thread from getting everywhere. I'll be honest, I used to have a little box full of bobbins that had threads on it, and the threads would get loose, and then I'd end up with loose thread all over the drawer, which is no fun at all. So, highly recommended. I look for these, and then the next step in that is, what do you do with all your bobbins? Is you store them on this wooden dowelly thing that a friend gave to me. So I have empty and full bobbins. So this is one of my favorite things this week. Well, if you have made it to the end, please like, please subscribe. We will discuss all things sewing, quilting, knitting, houseplants, and then whatever else I come up with for the week. So please come back. Much love, light, love, blessings, abundance, all the things. Bye.